Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody, welcome to Life, the Talk Show. Today's episode is all about mistakes, aka regret. Now, please join me in welcoming to the screen your host, Yoni Lotan. Yoni, you're muted.
I'm muted. I was muted the entire time. And that is regret number one. Today we're talking about regrets and mistakes and just like, and I know all of you have had moments in your life where you effed up, where you feel really bad about effing up. Well, this show, we're going to talk about that feeling with a licensed therapist, that's right, and an Austin Powers impersonator, the two people who have the most to say on this subject. But first, of course, I got to bring my incredible co-host. Give it up for the fantastic, the amazing Lou Gonzalez.
Joy to be here while we're isolated in this hellscape. I'm sure we've had plenty of time.
That's right.
But hey,
Lou, what would you say? Do you have any... in this most recent time that we're living in, is there a regret or a mistake that is on your mind or something that you think about?
There have been several arguments I have rehashed in my head, but also in terms of like, I could have handled this better, or that person fucking sucks. So sometimes it flips the other way. And I gotta say, if you want to get something for dinner, I think a big bowl of rice is really nice. If you get yourself a big bowl, I ate a big bowl of rice before I came here.
So we'll find out if that's a regret or a mistake. If you, doesn't sound like a mistake.
Reaction cam.
Okay, so every show we have a specific goal in mind, and today our goal is to find the perfect mistake. That's right. What is a mistake that you think everybody in this world has done? Just, it could be small, it could be big, but let's think big here. What's a mistake that you think every single person in every single country has done or will do in their life? And then at the end of the show, Lou, me, Mark, my sister, and Austin Powers, and you, the audience, are going to find out what is the perfect mistake. Lou, what do you think is the perfect mistake?
That's a Sheryl Crow song, right?
For me, the perfect mistake, like I find myself, sometimes I eat a lot of food.
That's your perfect mistake?
Like really quickly, and I rub my tummy and I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have eaten that, that stuff. And I'm like, oh, I regret eating all those enchiladas. You know what I mean?
Getting away with laundering money.
Getting away with laundering money. Anybody in the audience, let us know with the hashtag perfect mistake. What do you think? Any answer you write with the hashtag perfect mistake, we'll put it into the bracket at the end of the show. Now, moving on, what a classic regret or mistake that people make is getting some tattoos.
Uh-oh.
So I asked the incredible producer of the show, Mark Vigent, to find the worst tattoos on the internet, and he's going to put. Lou and I have not seen these tattoos. Mark, show us the first really bad tattoo.
Oh, that's good.
That is a cat. Okay.
Also, I think their belly button is infected.
Yeah, well, maybe that's the tattoo. Maybe they added like a pink hue. Mistakes and regret are deeply connected with shame and just like a lot of like layered feelings. And it's an emotion that we all experience, and we need to have a better relationship with it, or a more understanding relationship. To help us with this relationship, we have a licensed marriage and family therapist from the great state of California. Give it up for the fantastic and my sister. She's my sister. Give it up for Ellie Lotan.
Hi.
Ellie, you are Ellie. It's so good. Okay. Nice. I like that the reaction man. All right, fantastic. So, Ellie, you are my sister. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
And you're also a licensed therapist.
Also true.
That's also true. So my first question before we begin is, how are you? How are you doing in this world?
I'm doing great.
That's great. That's great. I love it. Yeah, I mean, like that's great. So I mean, interesting time to be a therapist, because I'm assuming a lot of people need therapy, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, look, everybody knows what a therapist is, but just for the sake of the show, can you describe what a therapist actually does? Like, what is the purpose of a therapist?
Well, there are many different kinds of therapists, but specifically, I'm a licensed psychotherapist, which it has its own particular traditions in like talk therapy and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You may be familiar with many TV shows and movies in which there are people talking to another person across the room.
Mm-hmm. Like in treatment.
For example, The Sopranos.
That's not true. I am helping her.
Yoni,
Helping me. Don't listen to the commenters. All right.
Okay. I would say that like the purpose of therapy is to externalize all of your, like, you know, not all, but you know, whatever pieces of your internal world your psyche is currently ready to bring to the forefront of your consciousness.
There you go.
Yeah.
So when it comes to mistakes and regret, how do you approach it as a psychotherapist?
So yeah, I think, you know, you mentioned shame earlier, you know, shame as sort of an underlying condition, I guess.
Sure.
There's so much here to unpack, but I would say the main thing that I'm usually curious about is, how do people talk to themselves? You know, like when you do make a mistake, like how do you treat yourself? You know, like, are you compassionate about having made a mistake? Do you get defensive to yourself and pretend like nothing was wrong? Or do you get really, really hard on yourself?
Mm-hmm.
And sort of like self-abusive even? So there's a lot of reactions that people have, and it can be really telling to unpack, like, okay, when you do make a mistake, how do you treat yourself in those moments?
Is this hard? Is this hard to say this to a steak? Is this difficult to?
I'm actually used to the costume.
Okay. You know what? I think it's perfect that you are his sister, because if you didn't, it would be difficult to process.
That's
trying
right.
to explain this to a steak.
And yeah, I maybe would have to talk to my therapist about it.
And
Yeah.
there we go. And there we go. You got to externalize all of that.
What?
For sure.
You paid attention, Lou. Good.
I listen.
That's what I'm
Does wearing a steak costume show high or low self-worth? Actually, I gotta say high self-worth, because this is what I want to do, and I love the fact that I can wear a steak.
Read him, mistake. Read him, mistake. Read him.
Travis says, "Do you Google your patients? Be honest." No.
I resist the urge.
The urge.
Oh, I have a question. What does it say when you host a show and you don't pay your friend Mark? Like, what is the psychology behind?
We're getting off topic. I pay
Okay.
Mark. Okay, but let's move on. So before we bring on our next guest, what's a common, like, what do you think? What's the question here? Why do you think we feel feelings of regret?
Well, making mistakes is a totally normal part of being human.
Mhm.
And, you know, it makes sense that every now and then you're going to make a mistake that like kind of gets you, you know, or you really wish that you hadn't. And some mistakes are small and some mistakes are big. And so sometimes a little regret is appropriate, right? Like if you committed vehicular manslaughter, for example, you know, like regret would be an appropriate feeling amongst the cocktail of feelings you might be feeling. But
excitement.
The adrenaline rush. Yeah.
So sometimes it might be appropriate, you know, but it can be a clue, you know, for yourself that, you know, you don't want to do that again. You know, it's an unpleasant feeling.
For sure. So before we bring in our next guest, what would you say is like if? Okay. Well, look at that. This is beautiful and wise advice. Also, I need therapy. Very good. So, I would say, you know what? I was going to ask you, what is some sort of type of advice you would give for someone who's dealing with feelings of regret? But I would say, let's go with that.
Well, the main thing I want to say is, you know, something I talk a lot about with my own clients is self-compassion, you know, and one exercise you can do if you're like getting really hard on yourself is just imagine someone else that you care about did that thing. How would you, and they told you that they were regretting it, how would you respond to them? You know, and if you would,
what meat suit would they be wearing when they told you this?
That too, you might want to wonder.
Okay,
but
look at that. Tug Helwig thinks you're a good therapist and he likes this. Well, on that note, we're going to bring somebody who's had a share of, he's a very complicated life. Give it up for the one and only Austin Powers. All right.
Austin here.
Ladies and gentlemen, the international man of mystery, Austin Powers. So Austin Powers, this is another internet situation.
You're breaking up terribly, but I am actually the international.
No, I wanted to have Austin Powers back on because he was such a fantastic guest. Austin Powers clone. Oh boy.
Oh, there it is.
All right. This is classic. Thank you. All right. So this is how we're going to do it. We're going to do this.
I'm only getting every 16th word. Okay.
Okay.
Can you see that Yoni's in a steak?
Let me look in the chat and see what you asked me.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a question, Austin. Austin, I'm going to ask you a question. What is your personal relationship with?
Can
you put it in the chat?
The reaction cam is looking pretty laggy. So, what else we got? Yoni's asking. Okay, ask me a question, Yoni.
There we go. It's in the chat, Austin.
Ask me the question.
Look at the chat, Austin. The question's in the chat.
I will look in the chat.
Look at the chat, Austin. The question's in the chat, Austin.
What's the chat?
The question's in the chat.
Okay. What? All right, I got it. I have it. Stop. I've got it. What is my personal relationship with regret? Well, regret was actually a Bond villain, you know.
What?
My personal relationship with regret has been going on, well, since 1997 when I started doing this character, because you find all sorts of regrets along the way. And those regrets lead to a better presentation because you say, oh, crikey, I should have asked for me money up front. Or, oh, crikey, I should never have gotten into that. But, you know, oh, crikey, I shouldn't have accepted a partial payment because now that bad check is no longer a federal offense. You know, all these things that I've regretted, but I've learned from, you know. But yeah, that's my personal relationship with regret, baby. I hope that answers the question.
And more so. We have another question from you from an audience member. Look in the chat. It is, what is your bag, baby? So this is just the.
Look
the
at
Wait, I'm going to look into the chat.
Look
because
at
I
okay,
only
he's
have the
looking at
last-
this. Looking at the chat.
Okay. All right, what does it say here? It says, what is my bag? But okay. What is my bag? Yes. Well, yes.
Mm.
Oh my god. Did he answer the question?
Oh, you know he did.
Okay.
Okay,
So
your mouth is moving. There's nothing coming out.
okay. Okay.
That's me every day.
We were having a very
We
were having a very good
regrets
conversation
people,
about
if you get it to shows about mistakes.
what's
So
happening.
Yeah, totally.
Using this
Mhm.
platform is I'm regretting on behalf because I can't see anything. I'm sure the audience is when it keeps buffering over the place. That too it could be construed as a mistake or a regret, But look, we muddle through with it. I say what I say, and hopefully you can hear what I'm saying, and you can react to it. And we move
heard
on,
most of it.
I hope
We
that
heard
answered
most
the
of it.
question, baby. Oh,
Yes. So let's check in with Ellie. Ellie, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I actually, there was something that Austin, I caught something in there that
Yeah.
Austin was saying that actually is a really good point, I think, about regret, which is about learning something about when you make mistakes, right? Like Yoni, like this show, this very episode,
Yes.
this came about because you learned from a mistake.
Exactly.
There we go.
Exactly. So if anything, mistakes are as normal, or no, what is normal? But it's like it is part of being human.
Absolutely. And not only is it a part of being human, but if we can adjust our way of relating to our mistakes, we can understand that sometimes they're actually like gifts in disguise, and they lead us to do things that we hadn't planned or didn't think to do, like a show about regret, for example.
Yeah. Austin actually knows a thing or two about being in disguise.
He's a man of mystery, international man of mystery.
that's fantastic. That's absolutely correct, dear. I'm a therapist, but I need a therapist. I thank you. An issue that is on my mind is like, someone in this world that I do might begin to like lose themselves in some character that is not really there. It's not true. God knows you can't run a business if that's the case. So, but let's say somebody's like, oh, I don't know who I am anymore. I keep talking like Churchill. I keep talking like Franklin Roosevelt. I think I'm these, So that would be a fair question to someone who possibly spends a lot of time portraying either one character or several others. I would imagine lots of actors who immerse themselves in the roles would have issues at some time or another. So, okay, let's say this to me. Ellie, Dr. Ellie, you listen, I can't get out of this character. I don't know. I've lost my own identity. What shall I do?
Oh, Austin. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm hearing you say that there are things about playing Austin Powers that make you feel like you're getting stuck in the character, or that you do feel like you are actually lost in the character. And so that is, I'm curious about who are you when you're not Austin Powers? If you feel connected to that part of you at all, or do you not feel connected to the point where it's hard to even name that person?
That that's a very good point, because I know many people in the drag world who they've asked, who were you before you became your drag persona, and they said, I did not exist before I became my drag persona, because they suffered such abuse or bullying bullying or they were on drug, whatever, some issue where they were so displeased with the person that they originally were for whatever reason that they said, I don't even want that person. I am now this person. So yeah, that's a good point. That would be, what are you like without this
Right.
persona?
Wow.
What do you do outside of all? Yeah. So if somebody was indeed having an issue like that, that's a good place to start. Because some people say, I don't know. I don't know who I am. I don't remember. I just like that. But that's a good counter actually, to find out more about the person outside of the character.
Or you would say
That's where you're going to find your, the points that you want to work on, because you're going to say, oh, you're displeased with. I'm sorry, what?
no.
I'm
Keep
on
going.
roll.
This
You
is,
interrupt me. What's going to happen is I won't it for 7 seconds. No, but what I'm saying is, if you work on those if you work on those points of the people, the issues that they have outside of those characters, then I think that's a good place to go from.
yeah, no, I think that's kind of like you're in a sense you're talking about mojo. Like, what is mojo if not like your who, the way you see yourself, and like the energy that you, like, the person you want to be meets the person you actually are. That is what mojo is.
Wow, we unlocked something today, baby.
Yeah.
You know?
It could be it. Like, I think Austin was just talking about a really fair point, which is that it could be that a persona, you may feel more close to what someone's mojo is than the identity that they sort of grew up having to play. Maybe there were things that felt inauthentic about who they were before they were able to express their alternative persona. So I want to honor that there may be aspects of Austin Powers that feel really authentic to you, Austin, and there may be other pieces that don't. I'm not sure if we lost you.
We might.
There we go. Austin,
did you hear that? Okay. Austin, did you hear that?
If you did record it, he'll eventually hear it.
I did, because I learned from my mistakes, and I think this is
honestly, I hear absolutely nothing. I'm actually reading the comments in the chat.
Don't read the comments.
So I'm
okay.
I see. Look how good you look in the Twitch. Look how fantastic you look there.
No, we were.
Fantastic. You're looking great on the
No, we were talking. We were getting somewhere. This was good. This was a good conversation. No. Okay, let's move on. It's the
Austin. I rephrased what Ellie said in the chat. You can check the private chat, and also having Twitch open on your phone is probably slowing down your connection.
Okay, it says Austin.
If there's two video streaming things going on, it could have some sort of impact on your bandwidth.
Yeah.
But you're nailing it. You're nailing it, Austin.
Well, let's go for the Wi-Fi then.
Austin, you're doing great. We love you. Read Mark sent you a message.
It's been
Oh, that's sweet.
take Wi-Fi. Okay,
Austin, the people are supporting you.
Asked you if there were aspects of Austin Powers in your personality.
This is great.
This is great.
Very good question. Very
Good questions. And we're taking our time.
Yes.
Okay,
The
yeah.
answer is
Nobody
yes,
talk. Austin,
but
go for it.
not what you might imagine. When I keep doing this. But there's things that I do as myself that
Maybe put it in the
I
chat.
do comedy.
Turn off the Twitch.
now. So yes, aspects of my own personality, I certainly work into some aspects of the material. So the answer is yes.
So the answer was yes.
The answer was yes. The answer was yes.
Okay. This is amazing. I think I'm having a really good time. I just want to check in with the audience. Audience, viewers, commenters, let us know with the hashtag the perfect mistake. We are taking your answers. We're going to put into a bracket, and the four of us
listen. This
are going to vote for what is the perfect mistake.
Wi-Fi is on.
He's handling his Wi-Fi. I think what's great about this conversation is that it's a great representation of how communication sometimes works.
Maybe this is the theme for next week.
Yeah.
Communication. Yeah.
Communication.
Yeah, maybe we'll have Austin Powers come back and to talk about communication.
Oh yeah, I would love that.
We are going to find out what is hashtag the perfect mistake. So throughout the show, you have been submitting.
Are you asking me what the perfect mistake is? Because
yeah, what do you think is the perfect mistake? And then we'll submit.
Yeah, or put it in the chat.
And okay. Well, he's gonna answer in like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You know what's weird? Option 1 and option 2. I wonder, like, because I'm having trouble thinking of like the perfect mistake. I don't know if accidents are by nature perfect. So I think it says a lot about the person what they think the perfect mistake is.
Interesting. What do you Ellie? What do you think would be a perfect mistake?
I'm not sure
well,
what I'm seeing. Let's type something here. Okay. Cannot.
It's
Well,
like
when it
it's
came-
like, yeah.
The one that came into my head is forgetting your mask.
Oh, this is great. That's
Ooh,
It's kind of like the new forgetting your keys, you know?
that's
That's
terrifying. I experienced that. I entered a grocery store. I walked from my apartment to the grocery store. Literally happened, and I was stone cold sober. Did not have my home. I think that's awesome.
Wait, Austin, don't watch the Twitch. It's slowing your internet down.
Yeah.
Austin,
No,
don't.
It's not doing anything. It's on a 5G. It's not. And I got news for you. I am actually frozen on my iPad. I'm stuck in the chat room.
Wait, maybe leave and then come back. Maybe that'll work. Maybe leave and come back.
I can't leave. It won't let me go. Let me try.
All right. We're gonna remove you, Austin. All right. So, all right. Okay.
My full disclosure,
Yes.
I got really high before this, and it was the right choice. So maybe that's my perfect mistake.
There you go. Okay, so while Austin gets his, this is Inception. Very true, Andy. Oh, shout out to Andy. We love Andy. So just want to say, this is awesome. I really appreciate both of you for having this conversation. This is very, very awesome. And I think it's really important. And yes, I'm dressed up as a steak. And yes, we have Austin Powers talking in the middle of it. I think it's really important that you just talk about your emotions and your feelings and what you're experiencing, because when you don't, it just bottles it up and it confuses yourself. So the more you're open about and vulnerable about your feelings, I think the more you're understanding of where you stand.
Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's good to sous vide a steak. You know.
Yeah, sous vide a steak.
You know, have some seasonings around it, and then release it. And then have it
Some rosemary.
a little bit of rosemary, two huge chunks of salt.
Okay, here we go. Austin's back. Austin, how you doing?
It looks better. I'll tell you that right now, Austin.
Okay. All right, we're gonna try to do the next segment. So it's called. So you have submitted hashtag the perfect mistakes, and we are all going to vote out of the two options which is more the perfect mistake. It's not serious. It's just for fun. But let's try it out, shall we? So Mark, take it away. What is the first? So it's either between paying $300 for improv class or saying no to drugs. What is more the perfect mistake? So it's a mistake that he said no to drugs, or or paying $300 for improv class. What do you think is more of a perfect mistake?
And specifically, this improv class was taught by legendary UCB teacher Michael Delaney.
Wow.
Well, I don't know who Michael Delaney is, but I definitely resonate with what I call regretsy phenomenon of like immediately regretting something you spend money on. That's something I personally experience.
Well, improv classes are notoriously, at least for the UCB, very expensive.
Yeah.
And like you'll spend money on something that's supposed to make you better at communication, give you a better bandwidth, and it's just not working at a time when you need it.
Mm-hmm.
I think also specifically with Delaney, a lot of trauma.
I was not expecting this show to talk about Delaney. Austin Powers, what are your thoughts on Delaney?
Yeah. Totally.
Okay, let's vote.
My thoughts on what?
On improv legend Michael Delaney.
Thoughts on what? Weigh in on the mistakes here. Okay, all right. All right. Paying $300 for improv class versus saying no to drugs. I would definitely say no to drugs because it's so important. And if you're stuck on drugs, you're not going to be any help to yourself with the improv class, right, baby? And you couldn't afford the improv class because the drugs are going to cost you more than $300. I think it.
All right.
That's true.
Especially cocaine.
Yeah, I do not condone drug use, but I think if you are in a safe spot, safe place,
Yes.
you could, and like you feel comfortable trying it out with a safe person. I don't know. I'm a
no. I want to hear what you, dressed as a steak, has to say about drug use.
No. All right, moving on. Okay, so the count of Lou, what are you saying? Improv or drugs?
I gotta go with so I'm just trying to understand. You saying no to drugs is you rejecting the use of drugs, and you regret saying no to drugs. You wish you did drugs instead. Is that the regret?
That's the regret.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I was like, I could have been high with my friends, and that would have been fun.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll regret saying no to drugs. Oh, I'm sorry. No. Then I would say, for mine would be, I regret paying $300 because I'd like to say no to drugs.
Austin loves saying no to drugs. He's high on fire. I personally would probably go. I've experienced both of these regrets.
Yeah.
I lean more towards the class because a night of drugs isn't $300.
Yeah, I'll go with the improv one too. Ellie.
Yeah, my vote is for improv.
All right, improv
So
wins.
paying $300 for an improv class wins.
All
I'll
right.
do the announcing. So the next one is vehicular manslaughter versus not paying Mark a living wage.
Go ahead, Yoni.
Okay, wow.
Yoni, you should go last. You should go last.
I'll go last.
You go last.
Please.
Because I will go first.
Please.
And I want to say the loss of life is hard, but the loss of living, that's harder. So I'm with you, Mark.
Okay. Ellie.
This one feels like we might need to do some counseling as part of this question. I don't know the backstory of to say.
Okay. Do you want to know the backstory?
No.
Okay.
No info needed.
Okay, Austin Powers. So Ellie is Switzerland on this. Austin, what would you say? What is more the perfect mistake?
Okay, choice to do. Yes, a choice. Do I regret vehicular manslaughter versus not paying Mark a living wage? Well, vehicular manslaughter was the name of a stripper I once dated. So I'm going to go with I regret not paying Mark a living wage. I thank you.
Oh my God, this is such a fun thing to do.
What do you have to say? What do you have to say about this?
Well, first of all, terrible stripper name. Second of all, I want the record to be what's the expression? Record.
May the record show.
Let the record. I pay Mark. I pay Mark. I have been paying Mark since day one, and these commenters are creating this like false narrative that I don't pay Mark.
You're not, Yoni. You're dancing around it. Is it either vehicular manslaughter or not paying Mark a living wage? Those are the choices. It sounds like you're dancing around it.
I think vehicle. How do you pronounce it?
Vehicular. If you don't, and you know what?
Say it.
Vehicular. It's
Yes.
vehicular, and it's also called a living wage. It's called a living wage.
Austin, how do you pronounce vehicle? Vehicular.
You're close. You're getting close. How do you pronounce
Vehicular. Testicular.
No.
Very similar. Turn your head and cough.
Okay.
Or you
That's a really good tip.
It's
Okay.
vehicular. You understand? You got it now.
Say
Vehicular manslaughter.
and then
That
say
was one
vehicular.
of my drag names. I thank you.
Very good. I think hitting someone with your car and killing them is a terrible thing to do, and I think it's a terrible, terrible mistake because life is so precious, life is so important. I think paying people above minimum wage is important. I think people deserve to get a living wage is very important. I pay Mark.
So you're not about not paying Mark a living wage. That you don't think is a problem.
No, I pay Mark. I pay Mark, and I pay Mark. I pay Mark. What do you want from me?
How much did that steak suit cost?
What?
The steak suit. How much did it cost?
The steak costume cost me like $28.
Wow.
I don't want to. Okay, let's just move on. I think
Yoni, to be fair, that's 1 vote abstain, 2 votes for not paying Mark a living wage. So not paying Mark a living wage goes on.
Okay.
So
Mark,
next,
do you care to share an opinion?
you know, we had a conversation today that we had some negotiations about not paying me anymore, initiated by me, because I enjoy doing this show so much.
I'm still paying you. I'm paying you.
Are you, Mark?
Are you paying me? Are you paying me for tonight? I thought you said you weren't.
No, I was always going to pay you. This is not what the show is about. This is not what the show is
I
about.
feel so bad for Mark that you manipulated Mark. And let's talk about emotional manipulation here, Ellie, and how that could affect someone that they believe that someone's planting ideas in their head that they should not be paid. what's up with that? What's up with that?
This is not what we're doing. This is not what we're doing. We're moving on to the next one. All right, Mark, what's the next one?
The next pairing of mistakes in the great bracket of what is the perfect mistake: using a 56K modem versus pooping your pants.
Okay. I think having high-speed internet is really helpful. I just got an Ethernet internet, and it's been really great. And I learned from my mistakes, because in the past I was just doing straight Wi-Fi, and it was just like not as good as. So I learned from that mistake. So I think that's a really good mistake. I have shat myself many times before. I've shat myself, like, honestly, I think I've shit myself like at least like 5 times, and that is a thing.
Baby.
What's up, Austin?
No, I want for you to finish. No, wait.
Okay. I've shit myself, like, honestly, like around 5 times because of, like, I ate something, diarrhea. It's just like a thing that's going to happen regardless, because that's just like the way of life. Like, we're animals. We're going to eat food that has like whatever stuff in it. And I just think, like, I'm with 56K modem. That's what I'm going with.
Wow, controversial. Well,
Lou?
I guess I'll go. In this time of isolation, I think internet's wildly important, and wallowing in your own filth is something that has become norm. So you got to go with 56K modem. Also, just for some people who may be curious, Seth Simon's Twitter is SA Simons. That's SASIMONS Simons. So if you want to hashtag Hey Mark. Hey Mark. Reaction.
Not continue. I pay Mark. Ellie, please go.
Sure. Well, I'm going to put in a vote for pooping your pants, because not everyone can get anything more than a 56 model, but probably everybody poops. Everybody poops. And so I want to go with the more universal option here for it to be the perfect mistake.
Okay. That was awesome. I actually agree.
Okay.
I agree. Austin,
Very good.
Austin, you're
All right. Well, okay. Well, as you can see, I'm suffering with what seems to be a quality of a 56K modem. So I'd rather shit my pants, than but no, this is one of those things,
okay.
Sorry.
No, that was great. For the record, I do not regret this show at all.
I'd rather poop than use the 56 modem.
Okay, so we got 2 for poop. Lou, which one did you say?
I went 56K modem.
I think I kind of want to switch to poop. I think Ellie's point was really accurate. I think just because of my relationship with pooping myself kind of deterred me. But yeah, I'll put in my vote. I will change my vote to poop.
And so, pooping your pants wins this round. And our final pair of the first round is: what's the perfect mistake? Having a groovy time, baby, versus forgetting your mask.
Well, having a groovy time is not a mistake. It's an honor. It's a pleasure to have a groovy time. So forgetting your mask, I think it sucks. It's scary. But we all do it. It's just like an interesting moment in time in which like you can forget something that's also so dangerous. I don't know. This is a tough one. Anybody? I'm gonna try to think about it more. Anybody else want to chime in?
I love having a groovy time. I don't know, and sometimes having a groovy time is a mistake. You never intended it. But I never had as much fear in having a groovy time as I did when I forgot my mask. So I'm going to go with forgetting my mask. And we're grading this not in terms of joy, in terms of mistakeness. Right?
It's just like the most mistake.
I gotta go with forgetting your mask.
Yes. Ellie?
Yeah, I too enjoy having it. So gotta go with forgetting your mask.
Austin?
Okay. Yes.
Your turn, Austin.
Listen, I am Mr. Having a Groovy Time. I am Mr. Groovy Time. So yeah, I am having a groovy time personified, baby. Yes, I'm speaking. I've got it. Okay. Anyway, yes, say forgetting your mask is very regretful, a horrible thing, especially now, because this is the reason I can't do live appearances, because you need a mask and they're not having them. So yeah, you're going to forget your mask. Yes, I go with a bigger regret is forgetting your mask. Thank you.
Great. And I agree. I think, as I said before, having groovy time is not a mistake. It is a way of life. So forgetting your mask wins.
That concludes round one of our tournament. And I do want to just elevate this comment here.
Wow. I got to say, Ellie, you're getting a lot of love in the comments. Let's see some more Ellie love comments. I love my sister. She's great.
Ooh.
Wow.
Thanks.
Pooping your pants is gross.
Are we ready to move on to the semifinals?
Yes.
All right. First up in our semifinals for the perfect mistake. Which is the perfect mistake? Paying $300 for an improv class, specifically with Michael Delaney, versus pooping your pants.
That's a hard one.
That's a hard one, but honestly, what you said, Elle, to me kind of like resonates in the fact that like pooping your pants, because again, the whole point of this show is to think about something that every single human being has experienced. And I think we've all felt that moment, the oopsie doopsie, I've made a poopsie feeling. And I think like, again, not to humble brag, but I've shit myself like many times. So like, I'm going to go with pooping your pants.
Yanni, when was the last time?
Probably like 2 years ago, maybe.
Okay. That's cool. I would say mine was about 2-3 years ago too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But also when you think about and I think it speaks again, I think like I said, like this judgment speaks more on the person. So the times that I have pooped versus the times I've experienced Michael Delaney, in thinking of what was more painful, collectively, I would say the poops were.
Yeah.
Poop because you're poopy.
Yeah. Ellie?
Yeah, gotta go poop in your pants. I think there is a connection between, this is very like a Freudian kind of way to go, but between shame and poop. And everybody poops. So, and everyone makes mistakes. So you just gotta say, you know what? Why put salt on a wound and feel all the shame about it?
Yeah, just put salt on some shit. Austin?
Groovy.
Yeah, I'm going to go with, I would regret pooping my pants, especially in these fine velvets. You know, that's beyond belief if you ever did anything like that. You know, it's like a nightmare would have if you do with what I do. So I'm going to go with, I'd rather, I wouldn't mind paying $300 for an improv class over, pooping my pants, man, It's a choice. I'm going to go with, I'd rather regret pooping my pants. Yes, I thank you, yes.
I love it. Pooping your pants. Moving on. All right.
Wow, pooping the pants wins there, and we have a hilarious comment from friend of the show, Andy Bustillos.
Wow,
Very
that's
good.
breaking-
Thank you, Andy.
That's breaking news, Andy.
Oh.
That's
And now for your next matchup in the
Thank you so
semifinal,
much. Thank you.
we've got not paying Mark a living wage versus forgetting your mask. We'll start with you, Yoni.
Can I say something?
Mm.
I am a firm believer of paying people when they do work. I am paying Lou, I am paying Austin, and I even offered to pay Ellie, and she said, "Don't worry about it because she is such a wonderful person." And I am paying Mark.
Jenny, can I say something?
Yeah.
The question is not, did you pay Mark? The question
Thank
is, did Mark a living wage?
you, Ellie. What does that say? That instead of looking at this as something that is objective, he feels the need to defend himself and even throw your name into it. Why bringing in Ellie? Because Ellie's a queen, and how dare you bring her into this to defend you? How dare, sir? So what is it?
Yeah. All of these points have been received. I have some personal thinking and personal work I have to do about this subject.
Yeah, there's a reckoning aspect too.
I think so.
People are accusing you of making a mistake.
I think so, and I think my reaction to these people is saying something, and I think I need to spend some time. I think not paying Mark a living wage is a mistake. I think forgetting your mask is also a mistake, and I think forgetting your mask is a mistake that affects physical health. So I will say forgetting your mask.
Not surprising at all that's the one you would pick. I don't even know if Mark has a mask, if he can even afford masks. And I think that's something that I don't know if, obviously he can't show himself because Yoni refuses to let him have space. But I want to say, which road I stand on. I support my boy Mark, not paying Mark a living wage. That to me is worse.
Ellie?
I once again have to kind of play Switzerland on this one, not because you're my brother and I don't want to dig you further into the hole, but genuinely because this is too hard to compare apples and oranges. They're both mistakes.
All right. That means Austin Powers has the deciding vote. Austin, what do you think?
Yes. Okay, well, I'll take the money because I'm a whore, so that's just me. So, yeah. But as far as not paying someone a living wage and forgetting your mask, hey, listen, I mean, it's apples and oranges, baby. You know what I mean? If you forget your mask, you could die, and then you won't be able to pay anybody anything. So I would go with forgetting your mask is more regrettable. I thank you.
Very good logic, I think.
Very good logic. That means
I am curious. I just want to say, Austin, Yoni did pay you, right? Yoni, you were paid by Austin. Like,
yes,
you were paid by Yoni, Austin. Wow, the silence is deafening.
I will be. Yes,
he will be. Okay. That's interesting because, like, if I were in your position,
yes,
I would want to I would
Look-
want
Can't hear
to
you.
go for paying Mark a living wage because my payment would be, and I think that's a fun little scheme we got
Wow.
going on here.
All right. Well,
Oh yes, I'm getting several $1,000s, right? Yeah.
yes. All right. Let's move on to the next topic. It's getting.
Well,
it's
now
getting.
it's time for the final matchup between the two biggest mistakes, which is the worst mistake. The winner of this bracket will go on to be crowned the worst mistake. Yoni, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Lou, are you ready?
I'm always ready.
Ellie, are you ready?
Ready.
Austin, are you ready?
You have to wait. You have a few seconds for him to answer.
I am ready.
All right, then. The question comes down to what is the perfect mistake? Pooping your pants versus forgetting your mask.
All right. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first because I'm going to have to go right after.
Yes.
So my vote goes to pooping your pants for all the reasons I've previously stated.
Great. Well. First of all, before we leave, round of applause to the fantastic Ellie Lotan. Look at that. You could go to her website if you're curious about her work. www.ellielotan.com. She's based in California, in the Bay Area, and yeah. Thank you so much, Ellie. I love you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Such a pleasure. Great to meet everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye, Ellie.
All right. So now, so that's a vote for Poog. I'll go next. As I said, I've shit myself many times before. I've felt the feeling of the oopsie poopsie. It's just the feeling that we all experience. One time I remember I shit myself and I was running home from the subway because I knew it was going to come out, and I shit myself literally right before I got to my door. And it just happens. So I'm voting for poop your pants. Lou?
Well, if you're going to share a poop story, I guess I'll share a poop story. I once had to shit so bad I convinced my friend to go to the movies because that was the closest place I thought that had a bathroom. And I ran and skipped. And I had an explosive shit where it just like it was everywhere and it was in a public bathroom. It didn't go on my pants, but it did go everywhere. But still not as terrifying. I went to the grocery store and I realized they didn't have a mask. I'm voting for mask.
Great. And Austin Powers, what do you say?
Oh my goodness. Well, let me explain how this might work. Both of these things involve getting out of there right away. If you poop your pants, you've got to leave right away. If you forget your mask, you've got to leave right away. So, but based on that, I would say, since you're going, you're not going to hurt anyone because you're not going to be there without a mask because you're leaving because you forgot it. I would go with the worst mistake is pooping your pants, man. Yes.
And there you have it. The worst mistake is pooping your pants. And with that, it is officially the end of our show. Fantastic job. Wow. What an amazing experience. Thank you to all of you who watched.
Yoni, you know what's interesting? That
What's up, Lou?
From this angle, because it's not a full shot, it does look like you're a turd.
Oh, how fitting.
Yeah.
So we do the show once a month. We'll be back next month with another topic.
Austin heard it.
Oh, thank you. Before we go, this is very sweet. Before we go, Austin Powers, any parting words to your fans? Okay.